Good morning. So I recorded a video this morning, but I just played it back, and because I had my headphones in, it sounded really wonky. So I'm going to re-record today. I wanted to show you guys around the garden today and show you guys all the different areas that have been planted out and show you what's growing and how everything's doing. Let's see. So I planted out these strawberries last week. You guys saw those. This one looks like it's either dying or going into hibernation mode. Hopefully it survives. I don't know, these little guys are so hardy, so I'm thinking it's probably gonna put out a few shoots and kind of propagate itself. None of the nasturtiums have come up yet. I don't know if this is a weed or a nasturtium, but we'll see. It has been a couple weeks since I planted out the seeds, so we'll see. The grapes are growing like gangbusters, and I'm seeing sporadic grapes everywhere, but they're not like really big healthy bunches. I was told, and I heard somewhere, and I don't know if this is true or not, so let me know, that grapes need to all be pollinated individually, like each individual grape. I don't know if that's true, but let me know in the comments. I do see we have some issues here. I don't know if these are like leaf miners. Do you guys see that? There's like stripes through this. I need to do some research. I know that we had some beetles here that were eating through the leaves, and you can see the holes. So my plants are struggling, and I don't know what's going on. Someone help. This one here, it's got a lot of beetle damage, and I know it's beetles because I saw those little suckers, but they seem to have gone away. I don't see them anymore, but there are a few bunches of grapes that look really good on this one, so hopefully we'll get some grapes this year. Moving along to my blackberry bush, it looks like it's still putting on flowers. Everything kind of just looks struggling. I did order a couple soil sample kits, and I'm going to take some soil samples and send them into the Clemson Extension office and have them tell me if there's something missing in the soil, or the soil needs something, to make things grow a little bit better here. The rosemary looks like it's struggling a little bit, but it's still alive, and hopefully it makes it. I'm just gonna baby it a little bit and see what happens. Let me show you this mulberry tree here. So I weeded around it. I'm gonna put some cardboard down and put some mulch around it, but the little animals got to it again. So I'm gonna have to put some posts and a little deer fence around it, because I've had this thing chewed up at least 2 times already, and I don't want it to die. Hopefully it survives and it does well. The city hasn't come by to pick up my bushes yet, and they haven't come by to pick up anybody's shrubs yet. So I don't know. It seems like every other house on the block has, shrubs on the side of the road that are still waiting to get picked up. So hopefully they'll come by and pick up our tree limbs and stuff. Everything looks to be growing pretty well in here. My borage is getting chewed up by something, and I still have a ton of weeds here. This Bermuda grass is just out of control. I'm gonna need to put way more mulch in here, and hopefully it will kind of kill them back. Maybe I'll need to put some cardboard down to kill off some of these weeds. I've been weeding this thing and pulling up the Bermuda grass, because it's got those little sections under the ground, and they're just almost impossible to get rid of. And there's borage growing over there. Let me show you this ornamental sage that I put in. I got it on clearance at the store, and I didn't know if it was going to survive or do anything, but it's putting out a lot of new growth, and it looks like it's kind of happy here. So I'm excited to see this grow. The blueberry bushes that I planted, they were babies, but that have 0 blueberries on them. Hopefully next year they'll put out some blueberries for us, and grow bigger, and we'll see. The blueberry bush that was here is putting out little blueberries, and I've been picking about 5 or 6 of them every day. They're really sweet. I like them. I just wish I had 4 bushes that were producing like this. I went to the farmer's market yesterday and got some blueberries from the farmer's market because I really want some. And I don't want to wait until our blueberries. The coneflowers seem to be doing pretty well. Some of them got chewed up, so there's some critters around here that like the coneflowers or how they taste, but these little guys are surviving. They're doing good. So let me show you this area here that I've been really working hard on this week. You remember I pulled out these bushes and it was really weedy here and just looked crazy. So I weeded this entire section, and then I put a ton of mulch in here, like 2 buckets of mulch, 2 yards. And I put a bunch of seeds down here about a week ago. Nothing has sprouted yet. And I don't know if anything will, but hopefully something does. I did plant the hydrangeas over here, and they look dead. I know you guys think I'm crazy for planting these, but if you dig in here, the stalks are actually still green. So they're growing, they're rooting. They might not do anything this year, but I have faith that next year this is going to grow into a little hydrangea bush, and I'm going to have hydrangeas here. So there's one here and one over there, and it's doing the same thing. They look dead, but they're not. It's so weird how hydrangeas work. I actually heard from my neighbor. My neighbor says you take a cutting from a tree and you stick it in the ground and you put a brick over it and just leave it alone for like several months, and then it should start growing. So hydrangeas are weird like that. They kind of just like to trick you into thinking that they're dead, but they're not. And I actually had that same thing happen to that hydrangea bush over here. This was literally just a couple of dead sticks this spring when I moved in. And look at this bush now. I mean, it's not so impressive, but I mean, that's a ton of growth in 1 year. So hopefully next 2 years, this thing is gonna, these hydrangeas are gonna do their thing. And then I planted our pomegranate tree here. It looks a little bit sad. It's struggling. It's trying to get acclimated to this space. Hopefully it survives. This space actually gets a ton of sun. This is morning, but right about 11 o'clock, the space gets bright and it gets about 8 hours of sun a day in the summer. So this is a good spot for it. And then, I'll baby it in the winter and stuff like that, make sure it survives, because obviously it likes warm climates and stuff like that. But I'm hoping, I'm expecting good things out of this little guy. Let's see. So all of these flowers, and I probably need to deadhead these. Let me know if I need to deadhead these. But see, there's a ton of blooms coming on. And I'm just really impressed with this little plant, because we've had so many blooms from this little flower. I think I'm going to split it up into 2 plants in the fall, and then just propagate them all over the place here. I'm going to do the same thing probably with all of these plants out here. This one needs to be split up. This one needs to be split up. The daisies definitely need to be split up. I just planted these in the spring. I just stuck them in the ground. I think I stuck them in the ground sideways because they're all growing kind of sideways. And I have no idea what these plants are called. Can someone help me in the comments? Just tell me what this plant is, because my mom gave me some bulbs in the spring, and I just stuck them in the ground. And I was like, oh, okay, they look like they're pretty, and they'll grow, but I think they're perennial, so those will grow out. I'm gonna have to split this up. This thing has grown to be ginormous, so I'm gonna probably turn this into 5 different plants in the fall and just plant them out throughout the garden, and just make everything a little bit more symmetrical. Same thing here. This thing could probably turn into about 3 or 4 plants, so I'll split that guy up and plant them out. Same thing with these guys. So all these perennials, you know, they're just doing their thing. So this one's about to flower. Are they gladioluses? Gladioli? What are these things? And I don't know what I did. I think I planted them sideways or upside down or something like that for them to kind of all grow kind of wonky like this. But I'm really excited, and they look really healthy. So hopefully those will grow and they'll thrive here. Oh, I did a ton of mulch over there, but I haven't done anything here. So I'm going to have to go around and mulch out the rest of these beds. I need to also, I've been seeing hummingbirds in this area, so I need to get some hummingbird feeders and put them out throughout the garden, because at my old house we had a ton of hummingbirds, and I miss them, so I want to create that space. I'm gonna see if I can propagate this gardenia, because it's so pretty and it's growing so well. I wonder if it does the same thing as the hydrangea, if you can just take a cutting from it, root it, and grow it elsewhere. But I don't know, I'll do a little bit of research and figure that out. Let's see, this is our garden. So everything is growing pretty well. And you see like plates everywhere. Let me tell you the story about the plates. So we have a huge ant problem in this garden. And, you know, there was ant hills everywhere. I think I stirred them up and ticked them off or whatever. But they've been eating everything. So like, look at this little basil plant. It looks like it's dead, but it's not. Look, it's putting out new shoots. And it's gonna live. Same thing. All of my peppers have been chewed up like crazy. But what I did here, and you can see that it's working, but I mixed up sugar and borax and water. And so I read that online, because the diatomaceous earth did not work. They just burrow right through it and just keep going. So I mixed up like 1 cup of sugar with 3 tablespoons of borax and a 1.5 cups of water, and I put them on these plates, and the ants love them, and they come to it, and obviously it's like poison. So, and this allows me to get rid of the ants or attract the ants, but not put any borax or any chemicals into my garden. So that's kind of the thought process there. Hopefully it works. But I put out these 3 traps. There's one over there and these 2, and they worked so well that I made 6 more, and I put them out throughout the garden to do their thing. So I really thought these squashes were kind of done for, but look, they just started putting out new leaves. I put in some vegetable food in there for them, and I put a little bit more topsoil on top, and they've been growing. So this lasagna garden, so what I did was I tilled up this garden, and then I hilled it up. So I made like these little garden beds here, as you can see. And then I put compost, and then I put a weed barrier, which is cardboard. And then I put more dirt on it, and then I put mulch. And so far, it seems to be working well. So I water this garden once every 2 or 3 days. And the ground stays fairly moist underneath, and so I don't have to water as much, and things seem to grow pretty well. I want it to grow faster. And I see all my friends that planted out in May or whatever, and like all of their stuff was like huge and gorgeous and stuff like that, and I'm feeling a little FOMO. But everything's still growing here, and everything, like, look at this squash. It's putting out, it's doing its thing. And there's little tiny flowers here, and here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have little squashes here. So even though I'm a little late to the game, I'm glad I did it. I planted some sunflowers along the wall here. I didn't know if they were going to grow, but I figured it would be kind of cool to get some sunflowers. And you can see they're growing. So they kind of look weird, like the leaves are deformed, and it's making me wonder, is it a bug problem or is it like a nutrient problem and stuff like that? If anyone can help me, like we can see the raspberries are getting chewed up, but the leaves also have like these yellowish spots on them, and I don't know. I do think it's a nutrient problem. Later today, after I finish with work, I'm going to do the soil samples and send them off to Clemson Extension. And I'm going to test this garden bed, and I'm going to test the blueberry patch and find out what's going on with the soil here and if there's anything I can do to make it better. But I don't want to put anything in there until I figure out, what's actually happening in the soil. What is missing, what is messing with that. But you can see these leaves are curled up. Yeah, someone that knows more about gardening, please tell me what's going on with my plants. They just look like they're struggling. Is it a water issue? Is it a nutrient issue? Is it some kind of a pest or whatever? Let me know what's happening, and hopefully I can fix it. But everything seems to be putting out new shoots, putting out little baby plants, seems to be recovering well. You can see these tomatoes are growing, and just this morning I'm starting to see little tiny buds. Those are little flowers, so they're going to produce fruit. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. This is going to be a learning process. I haven't had a garden of my own in about 7-8 years, so I'm kind of starting from scratch. Oh, I did want to tell you guys. So you see these tomatoes here? So when I bought them, they were really tall and spindly or whatever, but they were also root bound. So what I did, my strategy was to take these and plant them sideways. So I took off all the leaves along the stem and I planted this plant sideways. So it was just sticking out of the ground when I first planted it, with like 1 or 2 leaves. And then this whole section here, about a foot, there's a stem that's running parallel to the ground, and the root ball is actually right about here for this. All right, so I'm going to tell you guys what's growing in the garden, but first I have to show you this little project that I was working on this morning. I still need to finish mulching out this space and making it pretty, but you remember that white barrel that I had? Well, I made some holes in the bottom, so I drilled those, and there's holes all along the bottom. And what I did was I stuck a couple logs in there, like smallish logs, and then I filled it with mulch and topsoil, and then I planted sorrel and several different types of mints in there, and there's some lemon balm and stuff like that, and a couple other things in there. So these are all like shade loving stuff that likes to get out of hand. So I'm going to contain it in this barrel here, and this is the space outside of my breakfast nook that kind of just looks crazy, especially with this big plant over here that's kind of out of control. So hopefully this makes this space just a little prettier and a little bit more functional. And so I'm excited that I was able to accomplish that today. All right, so I'm gonna just take you on a little garden tour, and I'm gonna show you all the plants that we have growing. On this side, we have some dill that's growing, and I see little shoots, so it is actively trying to get bigger, and I'm really excited about that. Let's see, and then we do have some baby tomatoes, and so those are growing, and I'm really excited. And then over here, I have some type of flower over here. Hopefully that survives. I remember planting something here, but I don't remember exactly what it is. So it's going to be a surprise to both of us. And then I think I planted Swiss chard over here. So we have a little bit of Swiss chard growing here. And it seems to do better the closer it gets to the cowpeas. So maybe something about the nitrogen fixing activity of the cowpeas or whatever that the Swiss chard seems to like. So hopefully that spreads. The Swiss chard is growing great. We have secondary and tertiary leaves. Some of them look kind of deformed, and you can tell me what is happening here. I don't know if it's because they're getting eaten by ants or what, but hopefully they will produce. Let's see. And I interplanted these with some sweet potatoes. So these will grow under the ground, and intersperse them with the cowpeas. So beans, cowpeas are actually beans, even though they're called cowpeas, which is kind of a weird misnomer. But yeah, one lives above ground, one lives in ground, and they give each other what they need, so hopefully they'll grow really well. So we got these yellow peppers here. Let's see, and they seem to be putting on a fruit, even though they got eaten by ants like crazy. We got some green peppers growing here. We have a few banana peppers growing, and even though they're really struggling, they seem to still be putting on fruit. We got some jalapenos here, and over here we have this basil that got chewed up, but you can see little teeny tiny leaves. So that one's gonna survive. It's just struggling right now. Let's see. I've kind of given up on my cucumbers. We started them a little too late, and I don't think they're gonna be doing anything. Whatever this is, and you guys can probably recognize what it is at this point, but we have these flowers here, and so we'll have flowers in this space, and then in September I'll plant something else in this area. The okra seems to be doing pretty well. Again, bug problem, and this might need thinning, but I want to kind of let nature kind of do its thing and thin it for us. Let nature decide what's strong enough to grow in that space. But I'm really happy with how that's progressing. The chives seem to be doing okay, so we'll just let them grow. And then over here, we have nothing planted here. I plan on putting some lettuces and stuff in there once it cools down a little bit. And then we have butternut squashes that are growing, and all of these came up really well. We got bush beans that are growing here. Again, problem with the leaves, they all kind of look wonky, but they're growing, so hopefully they'll put on fruit despite being a little ugly. Let me take you to that last bed and show you guys what's growing here. So the watermelons, they're growing slowly, but they're doing their things. I don't know. I'm told I should get some Miracle-Gro and just spray this whole place with Miracle-Gro and see if that helps. So yeah, I mean, they're growing. They're coming along, just very slowly. You can see the ant on this one, so the ants are definitely loving these plants, and that's unfortunate. But this cantaloupe is looking good. It's growing. And check out the watermelons.